Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I am MartineFelton, and you are listening and watching Martine's Musings. Today, I have a special guest with me, and her name is VC Pitt, author, empath, and empathic lightworker. And she is actually the author of a book title called My Twin Flame Journey. Welcome to the show, VC.
Thank you for having me, Martine.
You are very, very welcome. I'm really excited to talk to you about the topic of twin flame journeys and what your book is all about. Is it a memoir? Is it your personal experience?
It is. It took place mostly over 4 years. So it really ended this spring or late winter when I completed my radiation for my breast cancer.
Oh, so you are a breast cancer survivor on top of
I am.
everything else. Oh my God, you are
Yes,
so blessed. You are
I am
blessed.
very blessed to be
Yes.
here. The whole journey for me was 77 days, and
Mhm.
I know that I was watched over and allowed to make it through.
Oh, that's good for you. So tell me about what your experience and your knowledge of the twin flame journey is for those of people that are listening and don't really know.
Well, it's a term that you are hearing more and more about. A
Yes.
lot of people romanticize it, and it can be a romantic connection. However, it is about individual soul growth,
Hmm.
and it will break you down, and you need to heal so many of the wounds that are within. I've went through forgiveness. That you have to do that to have unconditional love for others. And so it took a lot of healing. I used a lot of alternative healing modalities to get here. But this connection with the other person, a lot of people think twin flame and soulmates are the same thing, and they're not. A
What's the
soulmate
difference?
Well, a soulmate is a natural, easy connection. You've usually had past lifetimes with them, and most of the time it's romantic, not always.
Hmm.
But a twin flame is multiple reincarnations with the other half of your soul. And when you go through this experience, in my case, it was someone I had known, and I had a severe fall where I fell out of the shower and landed face first on the tile floor on November 11th, 2017. That led to my spiritual awakening, becoming aware something was different.
Hmm.
And this person had been involved with my business, and we had known each other for several years. But that fall triggered something within me, and this connection, it is magnetic, but it is beyond that. You are drawn to them. It's like a gravitational pull. It's like you just shift towards that person.
Hmm.
The energy, it's an exact energetic vibrational frequency. And so that person, you and that person match, and you are drawn to them. And if you connect romantically, sexually, it is unlike anything that you've ever experienced. There's no
Interesting.
match to it. I've I've had a soulmate, I've had a monad connection, and I've had other relationships. There's telepathy involved. I physically have felt him. I dream, and I know he dreamed. I don't know right now because we've been in separation, but I know that he dreamed of me most nights.
Hmm.
Um, that person, you can be in their presence and feel their energy, whether you're 150 or 500 miles away. It happened to me both ways. It, it's like you know that person. My twin, he even said he felt like he had known me always.
Right.
And so this is not something that people want. That's the thing I want to get across. Yes, it can have definite romantic, deep, deep feelings. However, the soul growth and what you go through, and I went through 2019 was mostly a dark night of the soul for me. It is the most difficult thing, and sometimes I wanted to not wake up in the mornings. It was something that the depression and anxiety that goes along with it of missing that person
Right.
is beyond being able to express the grief that you feel.
So not everyone has a twin flame. Is that correct?
My understanding, and this is talking to other twins and people that are above me in spirituality, I feel like I have a drop of knowledge in a bucket compared to so many others, but many were awakened before me, and my knowledge becomes stronger. And my understanding is there's 72,000 pairs of twins. We're not all here at the same time. Some are not meant to be in union. Some are not meant to connect romantically. This
Right.
connection, it can be a woman with another woman, man with another man, or heterosexual.
Mhm.
It is all of these things. And
Yeah.
if I had been a man, I would have been attracted to him just the same, and I'm heterosexual.
So see, this the twin flame journey is very intriguing to me because I my understanding is the same as what you understand, but I what kind of gets me is watching and hearing other people talk about their twin flame journeys, and like you said earlier, um, they romanticize it and don't really understand the whole purpose of the journey and of the connection. Can you like expand on that a little bit and what is it really for?
It is for individual soul growth. It is to that twin, the flame exposes your childhood and childhood wounds and adult traumas.
Hmm.
And in my case, it was abandonment, rejection, and self worth. And it exposed those to where you are not going to make it. You're going to stay depressed. You have to heal these wounds, and it took a lot of things to heal them.
Yep.
There are different stages within this journey, and the one that I was stuck on, that I tried everything and I could not get past the attachment to outcome. I wanted union with my twin more than anything in this world.
Hmm.
And sometimes life's not a fairy tale.
Yeah.
This is not something that people should want. However, if you are tasked and become awakened with this, you will have to face the demons within you. And it's not easy. I mean, I, I couldn't have done this this talk a year ago because I would have been crying throughout it. And it took ayahuasca last year for me to finally be able to release attachment to outcome in this journey, because in my case, mine was a romantic connection,
Hmm.
and the sensuality and sexuality that goes with this is beyond anything that, unless you experience it, it
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
it's a connection that when we were together, I we're both green eyed. which is a small percent of the population. I see up close with one eye and far away naturally with the other eye. My twin mirrors that. And our hearts beat in unison when we were together. So this is not just a romantic connection. And when the separation phase came, I was beyond knowing how to handle this. I was in traditional therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and it helped some, but the people, you speak to people about this connection, and they try to understand. And I'm very blessed that I have close family and friends that listen to me, let me cry to them the pain of it all, trying to not have heartbreak in the highest degree you can experience. And um, what all I went through, I mean, I'm very blessed to have healed, but I quickly say we are never fully healed.
Right.
And
Ongoing.
there are triggers that can happen. And through ayahuasca, my journey, I finally had done all of this, but you can be pulled back in very easily. And in my case, twice this year, it's happened. Um, when I actually just got back from Sedona, I was out there for about a week,
Mm-hmm.
and I was having just the time of my life spiritually, connecting with spirit, God, divine. And there was something that I had gotten a reading while I was in Sedona,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that reading, I couldn't quit crying for over a day. So, but the triggers last a shorter duration for me. And earlier this year, um, the my twin and I, when we became involved, we were both married. I was married right at 25 years, and he was married longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I divorced, and a few months later, our relationship continued, and our affair was discovered by his wife, and she borderline stalked me. I had to get a restraining order. So earlier this year, everything's been fine, and back around May, she viewed my profile on LinkedIn, and that spiraled me because the fear returned. So this journey has been many things to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you actually, like you said, we never fully heal. Healing is ongoing, and there are triggers. But how did you get to this point where you seem like you're such in a good space? You're seeming happy and very high vibrational. You just came back from Sedona, and everybody knows that that is one of the best places to be on earth right now. So how do you ongoingly, move past this?
Well, for me, I did a lot of things. Last year, I really kicked it up a notch and tried to find things that I could go to
Mm-hmm.
help me. And so I found a place in Saltainacochee, Georgia. It's called Elohi, and it is that mountain is healing. You are up there with different people, and I attended the same retreat 3 or 4 times in one year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the women are so supportive. Now you can go for R&R and other type weekends, but for me, that really helped me. The women are supportive. We talk about things. we all have our own individual journeys. However, the meditations that was provided really helped me.
Yeah.
There is there's a 100-foot waterfall on the property. There are walking trails. I have worn a lot of tennis shoes out
Yeah.
through this journey. And so I did the 4 healing retreats. I also have done ayahuasca twice, and I go back to the Sacred Feminine retreat to do this at the end of the month. So I will have 6 sessions in,
Mm-hmm.
and that truly helped me. The first night that I did it, I was put up in the universe, and I felt so at home. And I had a past life regression and Akashic record reading a few years ago, and I knew that I originated my energy came from a planet called Mintaka, and so I felt so at ease up there, and I saw religious symbols. I saw
Mm-hmm.
so many things and felt just a part of something.
Yeah.
And the next day, we had an outside session, and when I drank Aya that day, I was in what I perceived as the Garden of Eden, and I
Mm-hmm.
was upside down on a cross and told all was forgiven. And it was, for me, that was huge for me. And I went with a specific intent of releasing attachment to outcome because nothing else had worked. And and that when I came home, I had two. I don't. I I want to call them dreams, but they were more than that. And my twin was in both dreams, and I woke up from the nap with the second one, and I was unattached, and I felt liberated. And so then, I had my journey with breast cancer, and I went back about a month after that. And and I am supposed to help heal others. I do know that through
Mm-hmm.
the third and fourth session. And I am so blessed and grateful that I have been able to come this far. But I have to constantly do things because triggers happen. And each morning I walk 3.5 miles typically. And I walk with God when I've had bad times. He's carried me because it's all I can do. And so for me, I feel, I just feel I am happy. And the healings I have done, I've done a lot of Reiki, a lot of sound bath healing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's for me, it's something I've had to stay on top of. And but my vibration, you mentioned my vibration. I'm very high vibration. My
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
ears have buzzed 24/7 for over 4 years.
Mine
Uh,
too. I was just
it's
telling somebody that it just
does
doesn't
yours?
it doesn't stop, and
No.
I'm used to it now. But if when you sit in stillness and quiet, you'll hear it. But as you're going on through your day, because there's noise around you and you're moving around, I don't really hear it. I'm not conscious of it, but it's in the background, constant buzzing.
Does yours has yours ever served as a warning for anything? Because mine
Yes,
has.
yes, yes, it has.
Okay, that's cool.
And
So
yes, yes, it absolutely has.
how has
And
it
it got
warned
so
you?
high pitched, and I was like, there's something here. There is a presence, and it was I don't know what was the situation. It was a situation where I was having what could have been a really huge argument with someone, and then I got that feeling of a presence, that high pitch, and it was like even my head was vibrating. It was like my guides were like, calm down, because even and it calmed me down, and I was able to like kind of get back into my body because I was about to lose it. And I was like,
I get it.
huh?
I get it.
Yes. And I was, and so, yes, that was, if that was the warning for me, that was like them being present, calming me down, because I felt like if it escalated, it could have been, something very hurtful for all of us, for both of us. So yeah, that has happened. Yeah.
For me, when I was trying to get my restraining order,
Hmm.
I was in my parking lot and didn't have my phone on me. And so my twin, his wife, is the one who borderline stalked me. And I was walking my dog, and all of a sudden it changed pitch. She was in the parking lot. So they
Warning,
were
warning.
so I pay attention, and I know when I get downloads.
Yeah.
And after Sedona, the pitch is even higher.
Yes.
It's like I'm really noticing it since I've been back. The only thing that drowns that out for me is a sound bath, or the ocean, some kind of waves.
Yes. I love being by the ocean. Same here. Same here. You know what I wanted to ask you too, before we went off on the clairaudient tangent. Um, what do you think it is about this twin flame journey that people romanticize it so much? Aside from the obvious, we all want love, right?
Right. I think people think it's all just love. You are the energetic vibration, and people don't always get that. They're like, "Oh, I want to find my twin," and it is romanticized. And this I will tell anyone, this is about individual soul growth.
Hmm.
They desire a deep connection. More and more people are awakening, and they are seeking out things. And because people hear about it, and the sensuality, it's a sacred sexuality
Yeah.
and sensuality. And people want that. And what they don't realize is all the things that happen supernatural, that it that can make you question yourself sometimes.
Yes.
And and people, they watch movies and they see these perfect endings tied up in a nice little bow,
Yeah.
and a lot of movies are compared as twin flame movies.
Hmm.
And I'm here to tell you it's not like that. Um, that is the big thing I want to get across. If you are open to going through hell and back, yeah, this is your journey. So
And I think also what's often missed and not talked about as well is our soul contracts when it comes to
yes,
this, right? People
yes,
always miss the mark on that, I feel, or just don't talk about it, but it is a big part of the twin flame journey. Is you entered into a soul contract with this person, to go through this journey together, to come into union, to separate, to, all of the ups and the downs, and all of the drama and trauma, that was set up by design prior to you incarnating here, right?
Right. And so when I grew up in an abusive household that
Mhm.
created a lot of my wounds. Things I blocked out, things I didn't want to face, and this journey has made me face them.
Mhm.
And just like when I got breast cancer, I couldn't be angry or in denial because I knew that was part of my soul contract. I signed up for that. A lot of people look at the soul contract. You sit down at a big table up in the ethers and you sit down and you agree to what you're coming here for.
Yep.
So, so for me, I faced many wounds that have happened. And used to, I just wouldn't talk about them. I internalized everything. My throat chakra stayed blocked all the time because I couldn't speak my truth.
Mhm.
And through this process, I now have vulnerability where I didn't have it before. So people who want to do this, who just want a twin flame, you're not necessarily one. You may have many connections. A lot of people um, have toxic connections with people, and that is not what God wants for any of us.
Right.
And so for me, I've read toxicity from my life. I cut my father and my brother out, and for me, I have no regrets. They caused a lot of problems, put me in the middle, and I talk about it in the book. I used to scratch my skin raw. I excoriated
Mhm.
because I couldn't pull myself away. And I just cut ties, didn't tell them I pulled myself away.
Yeah.
So, in a period of less than 1 year, my stepfather, which he really was the father I didn't have, and he had heart issues, and he passed in May 2 years ago. Well, my mother had suffered a lot of issues, and I love my mother with everything that I am, even though she caused an abandonment wound when I was a little girl. And my mother, she had a lot of health issues, and she passed 11 weeks to the day after my stepfather.
Wow.
And I had pulled away from my father and my brother, and I thought I'm an orphan. That's how it felt. However, my mom's first cousin and her were more like sisters, and they have taken me into their packs. So I am very fortunate and feel the love from them more than maybe I have ever in the past in a family situation.
That is beautiful. That's beautiful. Um, I wanted to also ask you, you go to touch back on your attachment to outcome, because that is something that I feel like everyone struggles with, right? As it
Um,
relates to life in general, we all have an attachment to an outcome, whatever we're trying to manifest, whatever it is that we want our lives to look like. So we have kind of attach ourselves to the picture, the nice picture. And so you were able to release that, and your attachment to the outcome. Was the outcome for you the the happily ever after? Is that what you were referring to as to the outcome?
I wanted physical union with my twin.
Okay. Mm. So how are you, through your healings, you were able to like release that? And I think that's a big deal. That's a big deal. That's really hard because we
I
hold on
cried.
to things.
I cried daily
Yeah.
for for years. And when I went to ayahuasca, it was such a release for me.
Yeah.
And when I did it, the amount of tears was my purging. A lot of people have vomiting that goes along with
Yes. I've heard
ayahuasca.
of that.
My tears were my purging.
Mm.
And so used to, I viewed crying as a weakness. However, through this journey, I allow people to see the real me. And if I cry, I cry. So
Yes, that is, yeah, it's okay to cry. It's okay because, uh, like you said, well, I know I was raised in a home where crying was looked at as, oh, don't cry and, you have to be strong. And so you end up bottling up your emotions. And when you're an adult, you turn into a ticking time bomb. Because you don't know how to release your emotions. It's crazy. So
no, we're, oh, I'm sorry. Go
no,
ahead.
no, no. So go ahead. Go ahead.
No, and for me, and I basically for me, when I went through this process, I had been in heavy divine masculine energy for the
Mhm.
better part of 20 years. And so that causes it even more. You do not want anybody who you are. We are taught to get ahead, to match the next person in whatever we do. And I never was competitive. However, when you get into the real world of working, you face a lot of different people, and that caused me to really not let people know the real me because I didn't want anyone to get inside or hurt me.
Yeah. So let's talk about your book for a little bit. I know you said it was a memoir. So have you captured all your entire journey throughout in the book, or have you
Not
reworked some
everything.
things? Yeah.
Not everything. There's some things that are just better left unsaid.
Right. I
However,
would assume so.
I start out in the prologue and I talk about growing up, about the relationship, the abuse I witnessed from my father to my mother, and my brother. And I was fortunate enough to just witness and not be abused myself.
Mm.
So that I kind of go into it. And then I'm married in the beginning. This goes back, starts in a spring of 2018. So my twin actually helped me get my business started, and we had such a good rapport. And he really guided me and directed me, and I have a successful business. I became a workaholic. My ego was, and pride, well, really pride, was attached to my job.
Right.
So I am in the full 3D world when this starts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had the fall and I fell, and that started my awakening. I started not being able to sleep at night. I would wake up at 2 and 3 in the morning after working 16, 18-hour days.
Yes.
And I was existing in my marriage. And I, I, I would say half of the marriage was a good marriage. And um, I ended up, because my business was successful, I was giving him an opportunity to start his own business. 2 years later, he hadn't moved forward. And of course, this is in the spring of 2018. And when my twin called me, it did something, it triggered something within me. And all I could think about was him. And I'm like, what is going on? I could not think of anything but him.
Right.
And I had been faithful throughout my entire marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm the one that instigated the affair, and he followed in suit.
Mm-hmm.
And when we connected, there was nothing like it on earth, nothing like it. When one time he said, "This is like heaven, this is the way it's supposed to be."
Right.
And so when you have sensuality and sexuality and it's sacred, there is nothing that touches it.
Right.
And so we actually it became all we wanted was to be with each other. Um, and so when the separation happened, he actually left his wife briefly, and he wanted to marry me. And then she stepped in and created a lot of chaos. And I had to take her to court and face them both in court together.
Mm.
And I received a 6-month restraining order. I stayed hidden most of that 6 months, unless I was away from where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone harasses you, your life changes
Right.
and you live in fear. And it took a lot being in a dark night of the soul with separation from him, in addition to this.
Right. Yeah.
And, um, you know, when you get emails, you get phone calls. She tried to get me evicted from my apartment. And she was trying to essentially get me out of this town. And I thought, I'm not going anywhere. I don't care. I am not going anywhere. So I met a soulmate. I signed up on adult websites and met people. And one of them was a soulmate, actually. And I knew he had his own spiritual gifts. And what ended up happening was he saw my twin in a vision 4 dreams in a row.
Wow.
And he said, "You don't belong to me." And I said, "What do you mean I don't belong to you?" And he described my twin, and he said, "It's the way you look at him." And so I still have contact with him. We've maintained a good, you know, if
Mm-hmm.
we need to reach out. He actually wished me a happy birthday Sunday. So through this process, when he couldn't stay with me because of that, because he saw.
Yes.
So, so I loved him and I love my twin, and it's horrible being heartbroken by two at the same time.
Right.
And through this, I stayed alone a while. Um, I know what I am wanting. I've asked for God to bring a high level soulmate in for me. And I am accepting, if that is what God's will is, I am open and receptive to that. And I couldn't be before. So, and through this process, signs and synchronicities are everywhere.
Yes.
Um, Through this process, I see spots and flecks in the sky that is not an optical illusion, and it's angels, and I'm heavily guided, directed, and protected. And through this, I have learned to have faith and trust in the process. Now, my book, a lot of people would be like, "How did you make it through?" There's times when I don't know, but all I know is God is with me, and I am not religious in any else. However, His grace has allowed me to get to where I'm at.
That's beautiful. I'm so glad that you were able to get to this point and really get through this journey and the way that you did and write your book. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that will be helped by your story. So, one before we wrap up, I wanted, because I always ask all my guests this, how do you take care of yourself? What are your self-care practices, being that you've been through so much and you're still on your journey, your healing journey, I should say? How, what are some of your self-care practices?
Well, you do not let anger fester. You ask God to take that from you.
Mhm.
Anything causing you fear or anything causing you pain, I pray to God. I pray for that to be taken. I ground daily. There is a huge tree on the greenway that I walk on. I
Mhm.
ground daily. I have to. And I do massage, I do Reiki clearings, I do meditations, and I just connect. And these are things that if I don't go and do these things in addition to retreats, I could slip and possibly spiral if something triggered me. But I remain strong by doing these things. And I highly recommend people consider them.
Yes.
Um, they, I ask every day for my spiritual gifts to increase. And I know that my purpose, part of it is this book. It is supposed to help heal others
Mhm. Mhm.
because I I'm very honest. It doesn't paint me in the best light in a lot of this book. However, the forgiveness factor, that is key. If people will forgive, it opens their heart to allow unconditional love inside.
That's beautiful. Um, yeah, that's been, this talk has been really great and inspiring. And I just want to let everyone know who is listening and or watching. I will have VC's book information in the description box, your website, and just information on you and your book and where they can purchase your
Thank
book. Um, Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. And I will leave everything here and I will see you all next time. Take care.